live on Facebook, and we are also live on Zoom. And I've posted the Zoom link there on the Facebook Live. So if you happen to join Facebook, come on over and join the Zoom for the conversation. But I'm going to take just a moment. I know how to do that. And see if I can share it. I'm practicing some new things here, and the technology has me in a really high growth, really high, steep growth. Now let's see if I can do this. Okay, I'm going to share this. I'm going to just put it for now in our group because I just learned you could do this. Oops, let's see. Okay, so here we go. We are live on Facebook, and we have shared the live stream onto the Falling into Ease group, and we are also live on Zoom. So it looks like we've already got a couple people joining us. So if you are joining us, we'd love to know that you were here. We'd love to know that you are here. And so post your name and post where you're from. If we know each other already, let me know that. And if we don't, let me know where you're from. So we'll get some comments moving, hopefully. And here we go. So I'm Aliza Bloom Robinson, happy to be here this evening. And this is our Center for Divine Awakening, our weekly inspirational insight, followed by a community conversation. And we are live on Facebook. If you're watching live, please feel free to share this feed to your own feed. We would appreciate that. We'll give about a 15-minute conversation, inspirational insight, and then we will jump over onto the Zoom link where we will have a community conversation about the ideas presented. Center for Divine Awakening is a ministry without walls. It is a non-church. If there's such a thing as a non-church, that is what we are and what we do. And we offer inspirational insights each and every week, hoping and planning and intending to touch people's hearts, free their souls, and transform their minds so that we can stand in a world awakening. My bold stand is that each and every person on the planet, one person at a time, awaken. What that means to me is we awaken to the truth of who we are within, that we awaken to that divine presence within us, to our essence, to our brilliance, to our soul's purpose, that we awaken to oneness, that we awaken to love. Today happens to be, let's say, the 21st of January, and there were women's marches all over the country again today. And I was just looking at the one, my colleague and student, actually Reverend Randy Fickey in Kansas City. He has the Kansas City Southeast Church in kind of downtownish sort of ish. And he is such an activist. He does amazing things. So it's Randy, like you spell it, and then Fickey, F-I-K-K-I. Write that down. And when we get done, please don't go right now, I'll feel badly. But when we get done, go look him up. He had his ministry on the news. He's often on the news. He's in relationship with some of the news. And they're just taking a stand for. And I love that, taking a stand for women, for equality, for diversity, for love, basically. So check him out. That's Randy, and I'll tag him later so he can know that we did a shout out for him as well. So tonight we're talking about the mind, and I titled this actually the same thing as I titled it. I did a Facebook Live a few days ago, and it's called "What Mind Are You Listening to?" And when you read that, I hope it grabs your attention. I hope it kind of goes like, "Wait, what? Wait, what?" You know, and hopefully your answer is, well, my own mind, right? As opposed to my spouse's mind or my boss's mind or the mind, the thoughts of the media or the news or the sitcoms or whatever it is, all the other voices that can be in our heads at any given time. I wanted to just bring some awareness to the fact, the truth that we have multiple minds. You know, we have our logical thinking brain, we have that mind that propels us and gets us through our days. But we also have an unconscious mind and a subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is that place that we're not aware of, but actually runs our lives 90% of the time. 90% of what we do, that's my number. I don't know if it's real statistic, but it's my number. 90% of what we do is unconscious until we begin to become conscious, until we begin to take charge of our own mind and make conscious choices, both in what we do and in what we think and in who we be. So I said both, and then I said three things. Until we become conscious, until we make a conscious choice to be aware of what's in our mind, we are in reaction to the subconscious. The subconscious includes our past, it includes our wounding, it includes our victimhood, it includes our unconscious beliefs. So all of those places that are unlike love, enoughness, openness, oneness, anything that is unlike that is likely part of the unconscious or the subconscious. Now, in New Thought, the other thing that we talk about, and that I want to present here tonight, is the idea of the divine mind. The divine mind is, it is God. It is the infinite mind of spirit. It is the realm of infinite possibilities. It is the realm of divine idea. And when we awaken, we gain greater access to that which we call the divine mind. When we gain greater access to the divine mind, then we have more choice. So we've got that unconscious mind, with the loopy mind. You know, anybody here? Type an amen if you ever had your mind be in a loop. Like just goes and goes and goes and loops and loops and loops and runs and runs and runs, right? That's the unconscious. It can be conscious, but it is coming from the unconscious. Then we have that's also the logical mind. I say one of my favorite sayings in all of my work is you're never going to figure it out, so quit trying. You are not going to be able to logically figure out your next spiritual awakening moment. Now, yes, absolutely, we use logic, and logic serves us very well. However, when we can merge logic with that place of the divine mind within us, then we are going to be open to that greater possibility. I have a couple of clients that I'm working with right now, and there's sort of a theme going on, and that is that the mind just will not stop. The mind will just run and run and run and run, and it feels like, it looks like you've got no control over it. And the truth is, when it's running and when it's loopy, it's the hardest thing in all the world to get it to stop. So we talk about interrupting the pattern. Interrupt the pattern. Interrupt the thought and pivot. One other thing I want to say before I go further is last weekend I was in Denver, the Unity Church in Denver, with Reverend David Howard, my dear friend and colleague and client. And we did a workshop, and it was great. And there was one particular person in the workshop who was, I was talking about mind, seems to be a theme, talking about mind and talking about mind. He's like, wait, is that the same as the brain? So he got me all, he was, what do you call himself? I didn't say contrary, but he's going to be the one that asks the questions, right? That pushes you up. So I also want to just distinguish when we talk about mind, if we use the capital M, the mind, capital T, capital M, that is the access to divine mind. That is our individualized access to the mind that is, as opposed to the gray matter in our brain, right? Because that's a very different place. So Emmett Fox said, you cannot have one kind of mind and another kind of environment. Just lean into that for a moment. I posted that sometime this week on Facebook too. You cannot have one kind of mind and another kind of environment. So if your mind is loopy, is negative, is frustrated, is angry, that's what you're going to see in your environment. The good news is you can change your mind. It's not as hard as you think it is. You can change your mind. So flip side, if your mind sees gratitude, if your mind lives in appreciation, if your mind lives in the realm of possibilities, you have a very different experience. So my husband and I have had the football games on today, and we're all for the Minnesota Vikings, in part because he lived in Minnesota for a long time, and in part because how cool would it be to have a home team play the Super Bowl in their hometown. So we're all about the Vikings. Well, last I looked, they were not doing very well. So it's very easy to go, wow. It's very easy to go, oh, they're never going to win. They're playing poorly. Oh, you know, touchdown number 1 from the other team. We're like, oh no, they're not going to win. Oh no, they're not going to win. Oh no, they're not going to win. Well, guess what? And now, I'm not going to control the whole universe, right? I'm not going to control that. But what if across the board we're like, wow, okay, they can do this, they can do this, they can do this. They did it a couple of weeks ago, right? Or last week, whenever that was, they did it. But do you feel the difference? What I want you to do is really get a sense of like, oh no, it's never going to work. I'm never going to break out. I'm not saying blah, blah. When you have that kind of mind, that's going to be in your environment. But if you can interrupt the pattern, change your mind. We often talked about the pivot. Change your mind. Distract your mind from the stories that it's telling you. Distract your mind, and it feels sometimes like going into la la land. But that's a good thing, because when your mind is going down a tunnel and you can stop it and you can distract it and you can go to something as simple as looking at the sky, or something as simple as feeling your feet on the ground, or something as simple as being aware of your breath, then you've interrupted the pattern of the mind. Once you've interrupted it, then you have space where you can choose again. And what would you rather choose? Grace, love, appreciation. Those are always really great choices. Eckhart Tolle said this: if you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. As soon as you honor the present moment, unhappiness and struggle dissolve. Oh. Hey, Isla, can you mute yourself, honey? Thank you, dear. We got echo coming around because I got multiple machines. If you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. As soon as you honor the present moment, like really lean into this. As soon as you honor the present moment, unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. When you act out the present moment awareness, whatever you do becomes imbued with a sense of quality, care, and love, even the most simple of actions. So one way to choose which mind to pay attention to is to simply choose the present moment. Sometimes you got to choose the present moment in spite of what the present moment looks like it's giving you, right? So if you're all caught up and you're in your loopy mind, just know that you can interrupt it, but the loopy mind is 90% of the time in the past. Well, maybe not that much. It's either in the 90% of the time, either in the past or in the future. So in the past, we tend to live in depression, or in the future, we tend to live in anxiety. So if you are struggling with depression, see if you can bring your mind from the past, present moment. If you are struggling with anxiety, see if you can bring your mind from the future, present moment, because right here in this now moment, there's nothing you need. There's nothing wrong. Right now in this now moment, if you can take a breath and land in the present moment internally, bring your awareness from the outside in, bring your awareness from the loopy brain into the heart or into the hips or down to your feet or even the palms of your hands, then you have interrupted the pattern. Once you have interrupted the pattern, you can begin again. The question that I want to ask you tonight that we're going to go into our community conversation around in a few moments. And if you're on Facebook Live, there's a link there over to the Zoom page. We're more than welcome. We invite you to come join us over on Zoom in a few moments. As soon as we shut down the live, we'll begin a community conversation over here. This is a function of the Center for Divine Awakening. And we just give people an opportunity to know each other and to share a thought or ask a question. So the question, what mind are you listening to? Are you listening to the mind of the unconscious, the mind of the subconscious, the mind of constantly negative news? My friend and colleague Mary Morrissey calls it CNN, constantly negative news. Is your mind that you're listening to caught up in patterns or stories? Or does it always have an excuse about why you can't or why you do or why you won't or does it always keep you tied up? Or do you listen to the mind of the divine mind, the mind that leads you into love and possibilities, that leads you into the infinite, that leads you in divine ideas? Do you listen to the mind of others? Or do you listen to the mind of your own heart? What mind are you listening to? And you can find out, you can discover what mind you're listening to by looking at your life. And you can choose again. That's the good news. You can choose again. And then you can choose again. And then you can choose again. So we're going to wrap up the Facebook Live portion of this moment. And so once again, if you're on Facebook or you're going to be watching the recording in a few minutes, jump on over onto the Zoom link. We'll be there for about another 15, 20 minutes in conversation. So we'd love to see you over there. My name's Aliza Bloom Robinson, and I am founder, CEO of the Center for Divine Awakening. We would love to have you join us here each and every week on Sunday evenings at this time, which happens to be 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So I hope to see you over there on Zoom in just a couple of moments. Thanks for being here. I'm trying to stop my Facebook Live. There we go.